So, if you got any questions about politics, let me know in the chat, and I will do my best to give you an awesome answer that will be extremely informative and illuminating to everybody involved. Everybody's going to be so hype as hell to hear all of this great information about politics. So, welcome to the live stream, everybody. If you have any questions about politics, let me know in the chat. I know that politics can be really intimidating if you don't know all that much about it. And so I like to make myself available to people to answer their questions about politics. And they don't got to worry about getting judged. They don't got to worry about getting roasted. I don't believe in making people feel stupid for not knowing things. So I have felt that way before in the past. Before I knew anything about politics, I was always really scared to ask questions about it because I thought people would think I was dumb. And a couple of times I did ask questions about politics, and my friends called me dumb, and I did not like the way that felt. So now you can ask me anything that you like, and I will give you a good answer. I don't do debates, so you don't got to worry about, oh, if I ask this question, he's going to think I'm some sort of squishy cuck liberal libtard, or if I ask this question, he's going to think I'm some sort of MAGA lunatic fascist. You don't got to worry about any of that. This is a judgment-free zone. You can ask me anything that you like. John Kang says, how does anyone support Kamala, who literally thinks cloud storage is a cloud? That's not a good joke, John. I don't mean that it's like an offensive joke. I mean, it's just like a very poorly created joke. It's a hacky joke. It's corny as hell. It's not, it's a very silly thing to say, John. And if I would take, you know what? I'm just, just get out of here, man. Get him, goodbye. Party Saurus 12 says, hello, thoughts on the new faith office? I mean, this is a cornerstone of the Republican Party ethos, which is that we don't have freedom of religion in this country anymore. There's only Christianity, and that's it. And so the new faith office that is going to be in charge of making sure that we're not discriminating against Christians is actually going to be an office for discriminating against other faiths. So if you are Jewish or Muslim or whatever, you will be discriminated against. It is a method by which the Republican Party is going to advance their agenda of Christian dictatorship supremacy. Lolita says, can you please explain what Trump's plan is for Gaza? So Trump is in league with Netanyahu, who is the prime minister of Israel. They are both extremely right-wing. They do not care about the people in Palestine, and it is the express wish of people on the far right in Israel, like Netanyahu, that they just completely ethnically cleanse Palestine and then take over all of that area, and that area just becomes Israel. I think that part of the deal that Trump made with Netanyahu, and maybe it wasn't like an actual deal, maybe it was just like an unspoken agreement, was that he was going to get a cut of that at some point. And so in Trump advocating for ethnically cleansing all of Palestine and moving all of those people out, he has sort of suggested that America is going to get a piece of that, and he's going to be able to build some shitty-ass Trump hotels and crap like that so that he can make some money on that deal. It is corrupt. It is morally bankrupt. It is ethnic cleansing. It is wrong. So, yeah, that's that Trump shit, Hapless says, how is a convicted felon the president? Unfortunately, there's no rule against a convicted felon being president. It's sort of like the Air Bud law of there's no rule that says we can't do this, so they did it. Let's see here. Tony Blackberry said the word felon is not allowed to be spoken in the White House. Is this true? I have not seen any reporting on that. Harry Bowles says, do you believe Elon Musk is our new president? He sure is acting like it, and I really don't mind throwing that accusation around because I know it bothers Trump to hear that. So yeah, let's all talk about that. Yes, man, 8618 says politics are rigged. I mean, sort of. The electoral system is weighted to advantage Republican candidates with gerrymandering the Senate map and the Electoral College. Also, Republicans get away with a lot of lying and cheating and voter suppression tactics like voter ID laws and closing down polling locations in Democratic areas and throwing out ballots for not matching signatures, which all happen to come from blue areas. But yeah, in general, your vote counts, so everybody should vote. Iron Base 2 says, why are Democrats so scared of transparency? They're not. And in fact, the Trump administration is closing down avenues of transparency, so I don't really know what you're talking about. Shayna Johnson says, Trump is the best thing that could have happened to us. That is inaccurate, Shayna, and I don't allow for people to just spread misinformation propaganda on my live, so you're out of here. I don't care if you have a different opinion than me, but ask a question, like actually be a part of the conversation. Notification says, why are you not a communist? I am not a communist for the same reason that I'm not a capitalist and I'm not a socialist. Like communism, socialism, capitalism, they can exist together in the same government. Any country that has more employee-owned businesses than America is more communist than us. Any country that has, public health care is more socialist than us. But we are a little bit communist and socialist here in America already. We have employee-owned companies and we have socialist things like, taxes that pay for, paved roads and the fire department and shit like that. I think that America could stand to be a little bit more socialist and communist. Nathaniel says, what is Kamala's greatest accomplishment? I mean, she reduced recidivism rates in California. I don't know if that's her greatest accomplishment, but it is pretty cool. And I will say, it's every time one of these people brings up Kamala Harris, it almost feels like somebody forgot to turn off one of the bot farms in Russia. It's like the election's over, guys. Like, why are we still litigating this? Trump won. Why don't we talk about the fucking coup that's happening right now? Notification says, do you read political theory? A little, but I wouldn't say that it's my area of expertise. BitNevo says, is the Constitution dead and are we all being delusional? The Constitution's not dead. And we are not all being delusional. I think that people are being fed misinformation through social media. But as far as we're definitely in a constitutional crisis, but that doesn't mean that it's game over. We just have to make it so that the people that are in office are incentivized to go back to following the Constitution. Cox says, what is your opinion on America right now? We're in a very dangerous place because we have authoritarians and corrupt scam artists, who've infiltrated our most powerful branches of the government, our most powerful positions. And so it is going to take a lot of work by a lot of people to undo this damage. And it sucks. I hate it. But, we can still fix it, is my point. The people that are in charge, they want you to think that things are hopeless and they want you to think that it's game over. And so as a small act of resistance, I think that we should all have hope and work to fix this shit because it will be a giant fuck you to those assholes. Let's see here. Baraka says, do you support the, that feels like a bit. Notification, do you believe the Democrats are good? Yes, not perfect, but good. And leagues better than the Republican Party. Let's see here. Those who are not for DEI are the true enemy. I agree with that, Gen XYZ Alpha. Cold says, why do you think humans have not figured out governance after 5,000 years of civilization? I mean, they have. We have governments all over the country, and they work at varying levels of efficiency and, lack of corruption in certain instances. But, it's the same thing with everything that humans do, is that it is big and incredible and complicated and flawed. And it is the project of human beings to get better with every generation. And sometimes you take a step back, and sometimes you take 2 steps forwards. That's just the thing. Chris says, do you support money laundering? No, I do not. That is why I'm against the Republican Party. Johnny988 says, what do you think about Fuentes, Nick Fuentes? I mean, he's a white supremacist. He's a fucking schnazi, Mike Hunt says, why are politics? Because. Tim May says, bro, the Democrats are corrupt and everyone now is able to see it. That is inaccurate, Timmy. And I don't truck with people spreading misinformation on my live, so you are out of here. Again, I don't care if you have different opinions than me, but at least ask a question, be part of the conversation. What Willie Thinks says, yeah, right. I don't know what you're saying yeah, right to. Inverted Mystic, I came back. Good to see you again, Inverted Mystic. Shea Butta says, how is the Republican Party with money laundering? So what the Trump administration and Elon Musk and the Republican Party have been doing, and the right-wing Supreme Court have been doing, is basically making corruption and dark money legal and more easy to do for decades. And the fact that the Trump administration is closing down offices in the FBI that are specifically tasked with foreign election interference, and they have tried to dismiss charges against New York Mayor Eric Adams, even though he was guilty of corruption and taking foreign payments, and the Supreme Court decision that said that a bribe isn't a bribe unless you give it to somebody before they do the nice thing for you. If they give it to you after the nice thing for you, then it's just a tip. All of these things make bribery and corruption and money laundering easier. The ending the Consumer Financial Protection Board means that banks can do sketchy shit without getting caught again. The firing all these inspector generals means that financial institutions and businesses can do sketchy shit again. It is that is the whole fucking motivation there, my man. Jonathan says, Adams isn't guilty, never been in court. I mean, but we know that he was fucking guilty, man. You don't bring charges against the mayor of New York City if you don't have a fucking case, you know? Litigators are extremely apprehensive to bring cases against people that are that powerful. And so they had a fucking slam dunk case. And it was literally a quid pro quo that got the charges dismissed. And there are more Justice Department officials who have resigned over trying to get rid of the Eric Adams case than resigned during Watergate. So that just lets you know like the level of bullshit that this is. Bev says, do you think they should impeach Trump? Absolutely 100%. Mark Gray says, dark money Soros. Yeah, I mean, the Republicans like to throw around George Soros because he's Jewish and also because he's a liberal, but every other billionaire is doing way worse than what George Soros is doing as far as like putting their money to influence politics in America. Graph4v32 says, how does it feel to know your party lost the election? I feel sad. I feel sad for everybody because everybody's lives are going to get worse unless they are rich or racist, in which case they're going to get exactly what they want. But yeah, it makes me scared for people that I don't even know. It makes me scared for my friends and family and for people I've never met. King Dave said, who freed the slaves, Republicans or Democrats? Republicans, but that was before Republicans were the party of racism. Back before the party switched ideologies on race relations, it was the Republicans that were pro, equal rights and shit like that, and the Democrats that were more pro-slavery. The Democrats were the ones that were in connection with starting the KKK. But then, during the LBJ, the Lyndon B. Johnson administration, he signed the Civil Rights Act or something like that, or the Equality Act, I forget the name of it. And he literally said, as he signed it, there goes the South for Democrats. And at that point, the Republican Party took over being the party of racism, and the Democrats took over the party of being for civil rights. Dylan said, could a president stack the Supreme Court and change the campaign finance laws? I mean, they could, but they don't need to. Like, all you need to do is pass legislation, because that's part of what a balanced government is Congress can do some shit, the president can do some shit, the Supreme Court can do some shit. So yeah, I think that if we get another Democratic president soon, that we 100% should, rebalance the court, because right now it is heavily weighted into an extremely far-right direction. But I don't think we need to I don't think that's the only way that we can solve whatever what the issue was that you originally asked about. I can't remember. Kath says, how does Nancy Pelosi have a $200 million net worth? This is also another right-wing talking point that I find very, it's very purposeful misinformation propaganda. The fact of the matter is that every single person that works in government has access to other means of making money besides their government salary. They can write books. They can do speaking engagements. Those pay very well, especially if you do them for financial institutions like Goldman Sachs. But also, it is legal for the people in government to do insider trading, to trade stocks based on the information that they get. And Nancy Pelosi is not the only one who does it. The right loves to throw her around as an example because she said that it's fine that people do that. But the Republican Party does it. They do it more than the Democratic Party. And additionally, the Democratic Party put forward legislation to stop that from happening, and Republicans blocked it. So you can miss me with that bullshit. Let's see here. Are kind of like watering down their decisions because they don't want to put themselves in a position where he would feel emboldened to not do what they say. And then they would have to be like in this power war about who gets to enforce what laws and shit like that. It's a weird time. Everybody's waiting to see what these right-wing Supreme Court justices are going to do once these, decisions reach their desk. But yeah, so far there's been some compliance and some ignoring of compliance. So some compliance is what I should say. But yeah, it's a weird time. I'm worried about it. Everybody should be worried about it. Let's see here. Trump lied about the tax. Tips over $14 tax cuts the top 1%. Let's see here. They're supposed to be nonpartisan. They have voted against Trump 4. Yes, inverted mystic. They are supposed to be nonpartisan, but they are not bipartisan. They're not nonpartisan. They are expressly doing the work of the Republican Party. They have no legal ethos whatsoever. Sometimes they're textualists. Sometimes they're originalists. Sometimes they are thinking about what effects this has. Sometimes we think about legal precedent, sometimes legal precedent. The only consistent factor is what the Republican Party wants them to do. Now, have they ruled against Trump in the past? Absolutely. Do they have 100% success rate with doing what the Republican Party wants? Oh, it's pretty close. I would say it's 95% like that. And it is up they're doing. So I'm going to check out the past truth more but yeah, I'll see if I can get something. This makes even for the presidency, they're protect. It's a shame. They got a real fucking deal being territory. That's why we're at us. Let's see here. Again, does America allow the give? The government wants this law. So they're trying to that things are hopeless. They are doing the work of Trump and Elon Musk and the Republican Party. Be defiant. Do not comply before they force you to comply. And part of that being defiant is knowing that we can change things in the future. But here's the bad news: that if we want things to get better, we all have to do work. And that sucks. And I hate it. I don't want to do work. I just want to play video games and watch movies with my wife. But this is what we got to do now because they won the White House and they won the Congress and they have a supermajority in the Supreme Court. So now we got to do it. People. So I vote their 85 million elections. So I get the vote. And people vote because they will vote. All right. And he's trying to like last 30 years. He hasn't like let's see. Let's say okay. Obviously, that's going to work. You do anything. Okay. All right. I think that's one of the reasons, but there were a lot of reasons too. Russia helped them cheat as well. Social media helped them cheat. There were a lot of things. This electoral college with a landslide. No, it was something like 100 votes, which is tiny, which is minuscule. We have 330 people in this country. It was like that. It was like 1% difference. Let's see here. Captain K-Man says, what does Trump want us to comply with? There's many littles. They want us to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. They want us to believe all of the shit that Elon's saying about the Bushman. They want to and it's not having any whatever. Who's saying something that pisses you off. That's not every Republican. If you see some shit on the left that pisses you off, that's not every Democrat. And I would go so far as to say that's probably not real people at all. That's number one. Two is you got to realize who are the people that are actually fucking you over. And the people that are actually fucking you over are the billionaire class and the Republican Party that doesn't lead them. And I know the Democrats do the same, blah, blah, blah. It's not going over. If you actually look at the policies, if you look at the track record, the Republican Party is the one doing the work for the past hundreds of billions and eight straight workers speaking like we love them, healing all this flavor, and one and those are very important. It's public when we say, remember, I should put later, so left, right, also there are over 1,000 billionaires in America. The number of billionaires who declared that they were going to support candidates, like 100 of them. So we don't know. But we do know that 75% of all billionaire donations went to Republican candidates in 2024. So you can listen to that shit. Kai says, Yoshi isn't a real department. That is completely fucking accurate. It is lawless. We love us and it's what we're doing. Dearly says, 4 billion reports many times. We report many times. Because then there are billionaires who do not say we're reporting. At least reporting. There are 900 who declare they're reporting. And more than 4 billion. 5 billionaires there. And 50 billionares. 50 counts there. Only 12 billionaires. Again, system. CS 17 to 6 should be Trump non. So I think you need to adjust your goal based on snap. So I'm talking about a full hour mag where I'm trying to turn them into an AOC stand. All I'm trying to get them to do is fence common ground for me. And even that in that common ground for me, as little as, isn't it weird that we have two completely different versions of reality just based on where we get our news? And you can fight about which one of our news is accurate or not, but don't you think it's weird that we have completely different ideas about what's going on in the world just based on where we get our news from? If you got somebody who's a little bit more of a centrist Republican, let's start talking about what are the policies that we agree on, and let's figure out which politicians are supporting those policies. I don't think you CEOs and film writers and center, and then they do white, and then have like because they learned that that's the wrong thing. They learned how to make that job. Let's see here. This one's Johnson 3. That's pretty easy. All right, Trump thinks they are the first least, and common 9% of the let's see here. That's first week of America. 19 for that. So you can say that this is here. OPM makes all original at least on percent tax returns. I feel like not that from really tax only we get tax people have so many and so we spend income goes back so many more because policy of fucking box over it's not tax ratio like that. It's not part of the economy. It's like everything's making like healthcare control. Let's see your chances for down here and like the thing goes just so people okay. Anyways, it's just the origin that Chicago burn work saying there's again. The things where all possible for tons for hundreds and then it's all from the it's it's just really all part of the time and also the very very fucking programs giving rich. It's understand because before it's often I think ever being like that and I think there's more people more across work you will take this for part of network then get a job in government. But it's good I don't know if social media I was doing this as first form I didn't know myself when I was going to we were and then start to so how do you do as you say go on your finish that people and the rest that's what about your and not person I also knew that has been built up in the person as you see there so DJ and I don't know DJ alright so that's a good solution so people are from this issue I don't know how to watch like you can start them but I didn't people are from this and really I would say for like 7 minutes only 7 minutes here so have people and back can call all that for 3 years where only ship out its own no other and finish will be more so it's not I am ready to so you can and then question on your happy to
society. And this is something, some conversations where I've been put by power all over, and now all the Americans, we saw this in the I've been these things like what did they and I went to exactly that. I people so Kale, these things you just find visuals and that's whole thing that calls so you got to like your studies of the from South America. Okay, let's talk about again one example. If you look at the rhetoric around Republicans and immigration, they're specifically talking about black people and people from countries where they are brown, people of color. And so yeah, and they're specifically saying things like we want more immigrants from Sweden and Trump's going to want more white South Africans. So he's talking very subtly about it all. Also Republicans look at Trump, who is like one of the most blatant racist human beings who have ever lived. Fucking Elon Musk is a fucking racist who is like retweeting replacement theory shit, anti-Semitic shit, fucking doing fucking Schmittler signs, on fucking during the inauguration. Like how are we still arguing this? Alright. Ray Rice says he banned the BLM flags the first month in office. There you go. Another thing. He also was indicted for not renting apartments to black people. He also said, and I quote, I don't want black people counting my money, I want little guys with yarmulkes counting my money. There's some racist and anti-Semitism right there, guys. It's a fucking twofer. Cameron Kozravi says, why do other child celebrity billionaires support Democrats then? So first of all, there's a difference between a Hollywood celebrity and a billionaire. Hollywood celebrities don't tend to be billionaires. There's a couple, like Taylor Swift, but mostly they're billionaires and multi-billionaires. And they're also artists. And artists tend to have a lot of empathy because that's how you create art, is you try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. That is how you write something, that's how you act in something, etc. There's a difference between that and a billionaire. The Kochs are billionaires. Elon Musk is a billionaire. Vladimir Putin are billionaires. And these are people who, there are so many more billionaires not in the arts than there are in the arts. These are people who, fucking oil and coal magnates and, shit like that. They overwhelmingly support the Republican Party. 75% of all billionaire donations went to Republican Party candidates in this election cycle, and only 25% of Democrats. So there you go. Quinton says, I'm a Democrat, but I don't like the idea. There's no reason to vote Republican. Too cynical for me. Well, tell me, what is the reason to vote for Republican, Quinton? Let's see here. Katarazina Smith says, people don't comprehend how much money a billion is. Yeah. And you think that's to be having $200 billion? It's unfucking conscionable. Do you know what it would do with $200 billion? There'd be no hunger, anywhere. There'd be no homeless anywhere. Alrighty. Let's see here. Anthony Jenkins says, how often do you vote for communists? I don't even ever voted for communists. As far as I can tell, there's no communist politicians in this country. Jen Corley says you can't be moral and be a billionaire. I agree with that. I mean, some billionaires do some good things. Mark Cuban seems like he's doing some good things. He's got that website where you can get prescription drugs for way cheaper than you can get at the pharmacy. Bill Gates is like eliminating malaria in third world countries, but there's still also billionaires, and that money could be helping a lot of people. Anthony Jenkins says you vote Democrat, you're voting for socialist communist. That's accurate, Anthony Jenkins. Are you just here to be mean, Anthony Jenkins, or do you want to engage? The real random guy says, do you believe that old Republicans are shifting more towards the Democratic Party? There's some demographic information to suggest that. Like, a lot of old Republicans are more of like the McCain, W. Bush Republicans who really don't like the things that Trump is doing. They don't like his disposition. Yeah, and they, they're sort of like the moral Republicans, Like, I know some people who were, like, H.W. Bush Republicans who are now, like, Biden Democrats. Let's see here. Quentin, as a Dem, I think Republicans' emphasis on personal freedoms and family values are important. Okay, Quentin, I view that as Republican propaganda, because I don't see the Republican Party doing anything to advance those. In the same breath that they're saying family values, they're taking away people's personal freedoms, because they're saying, you need to have this kind of family. And I don't see any Democratic policies that are taking away people's personal freedoms. I don't see any Democratic policies that are destroying the traditional family, Let's see here. Jack, I don't see the Democrats doing any of that either, LOL. Yeah, completely agree. Devin, is anyone surprised and upset about the waste Doge is finding? Devin, everything that Doge is telling you that they're finding is a lie. It is 100% bullshit. Elon Musk even admitted that the things that he's saying are bullshit. What they're doing is they're closing down programs that help the little guy because they want to help the big guy. They want to help billionaires. The Consumer Financial Protection Board protects people from banks and massive financial institutions, and Elon Musk wants to make X a financial platform, so he wants to shut that down so he can scam people. USAID was investigating Elon Musk's companies, and so he wanted to shut them down because it helps despots and billionaires when poor people can't get food and shit like that. Diego Vargas says, do you think Josh Shapiro would have made a difference? No, I don't. Harris only had 100 days to mount her presidential campaign. I think that we were, I think it was unlikely that we were going to win that election, just based on that time frame. Laura Elizabeth says, how come Elon Musk $8 million a day earned government contracts are waste? That's a really good question, Laura Elizabeth. How come they're finding all this government waste? They keep on skipping over the piece of paper that says Elon Musk get $8 million a day from the government. 8God148 says, love this page, how can we support you? That's so sweet, 8God. And right about an hour, so this is a really good time to do my outro. So I'll answer that question and it'll be my outro as well. But stick around because I always do more questions after my outro. I'm a glutton for this stuff, so I will continue answering questions for much longer than I should after my outro. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank everybody for all the questions, all the comments, all the likes, all the shares. I can't do this show without you guys asking questions and being here, so I really appreciate you doing that. I love doing these lives. It's my favorite thing that I do. And so please continue coming back and continue asking all these great questions. I don't care if you disagree with me. Let's have a conversation. Let's get into it and recognize that I am not your enemy. I'm just trying to make the country a better place for everybody, including you. Let's see here. I got a little sidetracked because that's not what I used to say during my outro. I appreciate any support that you can give me, whether it is the free kind, like liking my lives and sharing my lives, or liking my videos and sharing my videos, or following my page, or telling all your friends how great my live streams are and telling them they should join as well. If you can afford to do the financial kind of support, you can join my Patreon. I've only got one Patreon subscriber. Very cool. Carmine, you know who you are. You're the best. And you can find it on my website, jaredbernstein.com. You can also buy stuff off my store. I've got a little small store on my website, jaredbernstein.store, that you can get stuff from. But also you can send gifts on TikTok and Twitch, which I usually stream on, but I was having some connection, so I had to dip out of there. But yeah, we're all suffering through a cost of living crisis that Donald Trump is not fixing, he's only making worse, so I'm not going to throw any shade at anybody for not sending me money or whatever. If you want to check out my live stream, my regular schedule is Tuesday through Friday, starting at around 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I often start early because I really like doing these, and sometimes I will augment that schedule with a Monday because, again, I really like doing things. I'm also touring stand-up comedians. If you want to come see me do stand-up, my calendar is on my website, jaredbernstein.com. When I am on tour, I have a much more weird and chaotic schedule, so often I have to kind of like shake up my regular streaming schedule, but I do try to stream from the road whenever I can. If, let's see here, if there's a question that I was able to answer on this live stream that you really want to get answered, my DMs are open, and also you can hit me up through my website, jaredbernstein.com. That's the best place to get in touch with me. It is way easier for me to answer questions on that platform than any other place. And yeah, let's see here. Is that everything that I want to get to? Yeah, and just my heartfelt plea to do the work. Everybody, do the work. The fact of the matter is, the Republican Party is in league with the richest, worst people on the planet. They have access to more resources than any of us have available to us. Even if we all pooled our money together and gave it to the Democratic Party, they would still have a fraction of the money that Elon Musk and Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump have available to them. So we have to do the work. The one advantage that we have is there's a lot more of us than there are of them. There are a lot of great organizations who are already doing this work. Indivisible is a great organization. Run for Something is a great organization that gets young people to vote for local and state office. Nobody Under 40, great progressive organization. Vote Save America is a great organization for get out the vote. But also talk to people. Talk to people in real life. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. Talk to your neighbors. Make sure that everybody's living in the same reality. I have a buddy who follows politics, and he told me the other day that he's pissed at Democrats because they could have codified Roe whenever they wanted. And I was like, you are a smart person. How do you not know that that is not true, my man? So we got to be talking to people about this stuff. And we got to be correcting all these false narratives and making sure that people know that voting is important and making sure that people know what the Democratic Party stands for and, what the Republican Party stands for and making sure that we are voting in every election, special elections, primary elections, midterm elections. Every election matters. Let's get these voter participation numbers fucking up. They're pathetic right now. And I have no evidence of this, but I believe that the closer we get to 100% voter participation in this country, the better off our country is. So come with me. Do the work with me, guys. If you all do the work, then I don't have to do all the work by myself. And I can't do all the work by myself. The fact that the number of votes that Trump won by in the swing states, I was like, I couldn't have done all that by myself. Like if I had picked up one or two more canvassing chips, it still would not have amounted to 100,000 votes. So do the work with me, guys. If you all do a little bit of work, then nobody has to do a lot of work. And the way that we get through this is by being there with each other and helping each other out. All right. So let's see here. Talked about fanboy. I feel like I already answered that question. Alrighty. Let's see here. Dave Saul says the Democratic Party only stands for woke, and nobody wants that. That's not accurate. Dave Saul, the Democratic Party stands for taking care of poor and marginalized people, which helps everybody. The Democrats believe in a fair and equitable financial system where there are people dying on the streets of starvation and people can't afford homes at the same time as there are like 1,000 billionaires who all have fucking dozens of golden yachts and shit like that. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I always increase the number of golden yachts every time I make that analogy. Let's see here. Crying Face is still crying about the election 4 months later. It's not 4 months later, and also is it 4 months later? Yeah, I guess it's 4 months later, but he's only been in office for about a month. Also, do you see me crying? You see me crying here, buddy? Diego Vargas says, will Democrats ever win back states like Ohio? Yeah, if we do the work. We won those states before, we can win them again. Metacora says, if the divide between parties continues to increase, should each party get it up? I don't know what problem that solves, Metacora. People often talk about how much better it would be if we had more options, but Americans don't do good with just 2 options. They vote incorrectly more than half the time. So yeah, I don't know how we're going to